And the next one is one of my favorites. It's the most expensive GoPro mount, and this is the chest mount. It's very well made, very solid and sturdy. It's plastic, but it does look like it's made out of Darth Vader material. And it literally just goes over your shoulder. And we did something fun with it. We strapped it to a roller derbyist and put it on his back and put it on backwards, and got some great shots that way. So this is a really nice, flexible, if you want to show the direction that you are going in without showing head movement, you want the camera to stay in the same direction all the time, I would suggest the chest mount because it's always there. You probably would get a little bit of arm movement, which is probably good, and probably some handlebar movement too. So that's the chest mount. And now I'm going to show you the tripod mount, which in my opinion is the most underutilized GoPro mount. It simply goes right onto the bottom of the camera, and what it allows you to do is convert to the standard 1/4 inch bolt that all other cameras use. So this allows you to use any other mount that's out there because they all use the 1/4 inch bolt. So this will open up the arena to all kinds of other mounting options for your GoPro. And the next mount is the Handlebar Mount. This one's pretty lightweight. I would recommend if you have a bar that's slightly bigger than this that you use the Rollbar Mount, and I'll talk about that in a second. But the Handlebar Mount, it works for what it's used for. You notice I've got white on here again, and I've got a reason for that. This side opens, and when you're in a rush, you need to know which side's open, which side is closed, especially because these things love to fall out and fall on the ground, especially when you're in a hurry. So just slap a little white on there and you'll know when you're in a hurry which side opens. And unfortunately the inside does not have rubber. It's glossy plastic, and when you've got that on a chrome handlebar, it does not want to stick very well. So what we do when we sell these, we package them with inner tube rubber, and you can do that yourself. Just pop that in there and then put it on your bar. And then you put your screw in and you're ready to go. Now this, for some reason, this is probably the most flexible mount there is. You're going to want to over tighten this, but try not to. The camera only weighs 5 ounces, so there's no point. You just tighten it and keep checking to see if it's sliding. If it's not sliding, there's no need to tighten it anymore. Because watch what happens when you over tighten it. See how it starts bending, and after a while, it probably will remember that, because plastic has memory after a while. On the same token, when you're not using a mount and you've got the screw in here, don't tighten it too tight, because you can see that too is going to start pushing that in, and it'll probably stay like that if you keep that for a few weeks. So just keep it tight, just tight enough when you're not using these. So the handlebar mount only goes probably, let's see, I've got it listed here, goes from 0.75 inches to almost 1.5 inches. So if you've got a bar bigger than 1.5 inches, then you want to go to the Rollbar Mount. It's the big brother to the Handlebar Mount, and you can see the minimum size is just slightly bigger than a handlebar size. Now this one does have rubber on the inside, so it's much easier to grab. You don't have to add anything to it. It's very, very sticky, and it does a good job with that. It's exactly the same as the other one, where it's got an open side and a closed side, so I put my white on there to designate it. And it also has a slanted hook area, so the camera can go more in one direction. Right now I've got a swivel mount on there. By putting that on there, it now makes the camera go the other direction. That's something important to remember, that with the Rollbar Mount, you're locked into one direction with the camera, and if you want to go the other direction, you have to add a swivel mount. Now, one issue that you're going to run into with this is that because this thing can go so long, up to 2.5 inches, it also can be a detriment, because if you've got sheet metal right next to your roll bar on both sides or one side, chances are it's going to hit. When these things are all the way out, this makes it stick out even more. So one way around that is you can actually take the knob from the handlebar mount and put it on here. They're compatible. All the GoPro mounts use the same size threading, and you can see what a difference it makes with the extension. So if you're in a tight space, you can use that, and that helps. It doesn't always work in all instances, but it works that way. You notice that when I'm holding this, I'm keeping pressure on it, and the reason why, what happens when I let go? This thing wants to fall out because it hasn't got a hinge, just like the other one. So I'm going to put this on a roll bar, and this is a 2-inch bar, and you're going to see right off the bat the problem that most people have with this. And so you've got the camera in one hand, you've got this in the other hand, and you're trying to put this on, and you've got this, and you're in a hurry, and you're trying to get it on, it falls off, and it's really difficult to do. If you're not in tight spaces, you're not in a hurry, see I've already got binding going on here, then you won't have any issues if you're not in a hurry. But when you're in a hurry, it seems like everything wants to go wrong. So let me get this thing on so you see how this works. There we go. So now it's on. This is a 2-inch bar. It can go up to 2.5 inches. And it's very stable. Roll bars, because they're attached to the chassis of whatever vehicle you're putting this on, are extremely stable. And you're going to get very, very stable shots. You won't get any vibration. Now, keep in mind that the more of the swivel mounts that you put on, the farther out you go, the more vibration you could induce, because the farther you get from the center point, especially with the high def, because it's a little bit heavier, then you might get vibration that way. But this is really the best mount if it fits your requirements, because it's really stable. Now I have mine, we kind of went back to the drawing board because this thing is so hard to deal with in tight spaces, and when you're in a hurry and you got a camera in your hand, it's just too awkward. We got out our piece of paper and say, okay, what do we want this thing to do? And we came up with this mount. This is the Eye of Mine exclusive roll bar mount. It looks heavy, but it's only 5 ounces, which is the same as the camera weighs. It's got a big 2-inch footprint, and it really grips onto roll bars. Maximum size is 2 inches, so if you've got 2.5 inches, you'll have to use the GoPro mount. But 2 inches or smaller, this thing is great for it. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to attach to a roll bar. Here's a 2-inch bar, and notice that there's no clearance issues, nothing sticking out the back. So time me to see how long it takes me to put this on. Done. That's all it takes. You just need to tighten it up and you're ready to go. And you don't even have to tighten it too tight, because with the big 2-inch grip, it really fits tight. So here's the best part about this. For the first time, you can now take your GoPro camera and do a 360 swivel. You can do anything you want now with your mount. And so this is for the vertical bar. If you've got a diagonal bar, this simply swivels over and you've got all this movement. And if you've got a horizontal bar, you just move it even farther and you can do all of this action. And we're really happy with the way this came out. And we have inserts that go inside here. So we have an insert for a 1.5 inch roll bar and a 1 inch. And if you've got anything in between that, we've got rubber that comes with the kit, and you can pretty much use any roll bar from 2 inches down. And you can use this beyond just a roll bar. You can use it on a piece of wood, an L bracket, anything that you can clamp around. You can use this for. So it doesn't have to be on a vehicle. It can be used for a musician, for a wedding, anything like that. We also have an optional 2-camera bracket, and I'll show that to you right now. What we did was we simply take this L bracket off, and we've got this. It goes directly onto the mount, and you can swivel it anything you want. You have one pointing frontwards, one backwards. And what I didn't show you is you can do this, and because there's so much swivel action, you have all this control. So these can go any way you want. And so instead of having 2 mounting points, you can just have 1 mounting point and then 2 cameras coming off of it. And that is the exclusive Eye of Mine roll bar mount.